I'm sure everybody by now has heard that a creepy extremist lunatic in Portland has killed 2 people over a train incident. Apparently he was shouting anti-Muslim rhetoric at some women and 2 guys tried to stand up for them, and this guy stabbed and killed 2 of them. It's very sad and everybody should condemn this man. He is a lunatic, he is an extremist like I said. This is not acceptable. A lot of people on social media and news sources have been calling him a white supremacist, which I think is fair because if that's his skin color, and he indeed thinks he's supreme to other people based on race and religion, then sure, he's a supremacist and he should be condemned. However, a lot of people are trying to use this as political agenda fodder and saying that he's a Trump supporter. Welcome to Trump's America. This is all Trump's fault. And I found something very funny when I looked at his Facebook. He was actually a huge Bernie Sanders supporter. He hated Donald Trump. Look at all these pro-Bernie Sanders posts.
Walk up in the club, I feel like I'm Bernie Sanders. Woo. I don't give a I feel like I'm Bernie Sanders. Woo. Presidential I feel like I'm Bernie Sanders. Woo. I'm Bernie Sanders. Woo. I'm Bernie Sanders. Woo.
He even says that he likes Jill Stein. Specifically, look at this Bernie Sanders post where it shows Bernie punching out the Hitler version of Donald Trump that the media has painted for everybody and forced down people's throats to the point where people really think he's actually like Hitler, including this clearly mentally ill man. This post reads, "I've had it. I'm gonna kill everyone who voted for Trump or Hillary. It's all your fault. You're what's wrong with this country. Reveal yourselves immediately and face your doom." That doesn't sound like a Trump supporter to me. Why do people keep lying about it? The reason that they're able to is for 2 reasons, and I'm going to show you why it's completely inaccurate. This one post specifically, he said, "If Donald Trump is the next Hitler, then I am joining his SS to put an end to monotheist question. All Zionist Jews, all Christians who do not follow Christ's teachings of love, charity, and forgiveness, and all jihadi Muslims are going to Madagascar or ovens and FEMA camps. Does this make me a fascist?" First of all, it makes you a fascist, a criminal, a psycho, a lunatic, and somebody that doesn't belong in America or anywhere in this world. He was unhinged after the election of hating everybody but Bernie Sanders, so he decided, well, if the mainstream media keeps telling me that Trump's Hitler, then Trump's Hitler, I'm gonna be Hitler too. But watch what happens when he goes to a Trump rally and tries to bring his crazy, extremist Nazi behaviors to their environment.
Get it. Okay, great. So, get it right.
We don't tolerate that. We don't tolerate
I can tell because you're just as fascist as the anti-war.
Are you serious?
I'm the only motherfucking
the only dumbass here.
You could clearly see that the Trump supporters are condemning him, telling him to stop, and even told police about this man. So why do people keep lying about it and acting like he was a big Trump supporter? He hated Donald Trump. He tried to act like a Nazi at one free speech Trump rally, and he got condemned by Trump supporters. Perhaps the biggest irony of all was Dr. Jill Stein, who I personally voted for, who tweeted, "Another heartbreaking tragedy in Trump's America, as a white nationalist shouting anti-Islam slurs murdered 2 on Portland, Oregon subway. Congratulations, Jill Stein. I will never vote for you again, you big giant fraud." He was actually your supporter. He loved you and Bernie Sanders much more than he loved Donald Trump. But of course, please use that for your agenda and completely hide the fact that he supported you. This situation reminds me of last year when Democratic Party operatives were caught hiring mentally ill people like this man who stabbed 2 in Portland to go to Trump rallies, start violence in the line. This way the media could write a story and say, "Look at how violent the Trump supporters are." Yeah, this really happened.
Make no mistake. Over the last 20 years, I've paid off a few homeless guys to do some crazy stuff, and I've also taken them for dinner, and I've also made sure they had a hotel and a shower, and I put them in a program. Like, I've done that.
Protesting and you do these actions, you will be attacked at Trump rallies. That's what we know. People will freak the f*** out. The security team will freak out, and his supporters will lose their shit. We are contracted directly with the DNC and the campaign. Both.
Correct. Okay. The script of engagement. Sometimes the crazies bite, and sometimes the crazies don't bite. They're starting confrontations in the line, right? They're not starting confrontations
volunteers.
in the rally, because once they're inside the rally, they're under Secret Service's control. When they're outside the rally,
they're more affected out. They're harder to get in.
The media will cover it no matter where it happens.
If you're wondering why you didn't see that much news about that, it's because most of the mainstream media, including the TV news sources and also the news publications on the internet, act as a giant PR team for certain politicians. They completely lie, they hide any evidence that's damning towards them, and they never tell the truth. So this extremist Bernie Sanders and Jill Stein supporter who's a supremacist kills people, and they use it to talk bad about Donald Trump. And also they're caught funding people like that, hiring them, making people like that guy go to Trump rallies to start violence so then they could film it and say on their television news sources that Trump supporters are violent. And you wonder why Donald Trump won the election. I didn't vote for him, but with this type of disgusting, insane lie tactics, what do you expect? Meanwhile, there's almost no news on it. Everybody's trying to suppress that information. A journalist that I support named H.A. Goodman recently wrote an article about Kim.com and why he should be allowed to testify, and this story was removed by the Huffington Post. There's Twitter accounts being deleted, suspended, people getting threats, people getting lawyers, but nobody seems to notice. It's like nowadays people enjoy lying, misleading people, and pushing fake news. Here's a tweet by somebody at the BBC that got over 17,000 shares saying, "Hey look, Trump doesn't even have an earpiece, he's not even listening." He later corrected himself, realizing that Trump had a small earpiece in his right ear, but that tweet only got 42 shares. So the lie gets over 17,000 shares, and then those people spread that information, and the truth gets only 42. Now, I absolutely do think that President Trump can do a better job to talk to people that are Muslim, to talk to Americans, to talk to people of different races, religions, and cultures, and make everybody feel comfortable. But I even make these videos in the first place because I believe the greatest danger is not simply what Donald Trump says or does, it's how the media portrays it to people like the Portland killer to make people lose their mind and deceive people. Donald Trump tries to put a temporary ban from 7 countries that are being war-torn and were being lied to by our media. So what does the media do? They call it a Muslim ban when it's not a Muslim ban, they stop him from doing it, and they quietly double the amount of refugees that are coming into the country. No discussion, no honest conversation, no back and forth dialogue. It's just, Trump, you're racist, you're sexist, you're xenophobic, you can't do this, we're not listening to you. This is why people are getting fed up. I don't speak like Donald Trump personally. All my views don't line up with Donald Trump's views. But a lot of the times, it's not what he says or does, it's how everybody skews it out of proportion and lies about it, and they create a culture that is much, much more dangerous than anything he says or does. This Portland murder is a great example. This guy was an adamant Bernie Sanders supporters, and watch how many people, including politicians like Jill Stein, who this guy supported more, will use it for their anti-Trump agenda. How can we trust the news when they're lying about the Portland killer? They paid mentally ill people to start violence so the media could cover it and blame Donald Trump. And then no news sources covered that story or covered it accurately. If Donald Trump is so bad, just report on the things he's doing bad. Don't pay people to do things to make your agenda come true. If Donald Trump supporters are really that bad and racist and sexist and xenophobic, then just use the material that they do. Stop grouping in Bernie Sanders supporters or Jill Stein supporters. Stop lying about it. Stop making false stories. Just use the actual evidence. But a lot of the times, they can't do that because they have no evidence. So they create it, they create fake stories, they create fake narratives, and they just blast it out. Blast, 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 until everybody believes it. Personally, I'm sick of it. Much love, and much love to everybody of every race, religion, gender, or country. We're all in this together, and we're never gonna get the peace and prosperity that we want until we stop lying and get some honest dialogue flowing. Thank you for watching. Share this video if you agree.
Watch me living out the system, yeah, I stretch like every day. I be all about my fitness, keep my mind about the stress. So I always beat my sickness, I don't trust no corporation, cause they lie like politicians. I don't